And good morning, welcome to Hot Seat. My pleasure this morning to have the House Minority Leader, Cindy Munson. You've been on Your Vote Counts, you've recognized this audience, and they recognize you. It's good to have you.
Good, thank you
And
for
the
having me.
Minority Leader in the State Senate, Senator Kay Floyd. Good to have you, Senator.
Thanks for having me.
Well, you know, most of the time when you see a speech given in Oklahoma, it's being given by a Republican, right? The legislature, they control both houses by big majorities. But Democrats ran Oklahoma for a very, very long time. And we have two women leaders who happen to be Democrats, who often take opposite sides of what we hear from the majority. So, Representative, we could start with you. You know what's going to be happening on Monday. You've heard the agendas of the leadership on both sides. What are your agenda? What is your agenda as leader in the State House?
Yeah, as we begin on Monday, we know that the governor will give his State of the State address, and I don't think there will be any surprises, same with his inauguration speech. It's clear that the governor and the state superintendent of public instruction are pretty focused on siphoning public dollars and putting those towards private school voucher programs, and that is something that House Democrats have and will continue to fight against. We're coming in also with 6 new members in the House Democratic Caucus, and so there's a ton of energy and excitement around standing up for our constituents and standing up for our public schools. And so you'll see us continue to talk about and fight against those types of things. Whether you're a Democrat or Republican, it really doesn't matter. When we were out knocking doors, we heard about inflation. We heard about costs being too high for families when it comes to their groceries, their rent, and just basic necessities, the things that we all need in order to live. And so we'll continue to push tax policy that we think will be good for working families, specifically cutting the state sales tax on groceries, and then looking at how we can expand the earned income tax credit. We've already done some work in 2020, good work around that, but there's still more that can be done. And then we have some legislation to address minimum wage and also sales tax relief credit. So that'll be a priority for us. And then, of course, pushing back against the extremism that we see happening at the national level, but it's seeping into what's happening at the local level. In states all across this country, we're fighting the same thing. Voucher programs, woke indoctrination in our schools, and then attacking people when it comes to their health care. We'll continue to stand up and fight for quality health care and access to health care regardless of who you are or where you live.
Representative Munson's working with a veteran leader and Speaker McCall. You're working with a veteran leader and Senator Treat, the pro tem. Senator, what is your agenda this year?
Well, you can't talk about agendas without first discussing the budget and how much money we have. This year was a $10.8 billion budget. That's an 8% increase from last year. We've seen what I consider and my caucus considers an unreasonable large amount of money that's been put in savings accounts. You've got $250 million in a PREP account. You've got $698 million in what's called the LEAD account. Our rainy day fund right now is at $1.1 billion. We have money in savings accounts that we could be putting into education, we could be putting into health care. And that's what our agenda, part of our agenda is going to be as the Democrats in the Senate, is moving this money into areas that will help Oklahomans. We've got large learning gaps in education in Oklahoma from COVID. It's a nationwide problem, but the numbers in Oklahoma are much lower than the numbers nationally. We've had our 8th grade and 4th grade math proficiencies dropped more than the national average. Our 8th grade and 4th grade reading proficiencies dropped more than the national average. We could take some of the money out of savings and put it into programs that would increase the education outcomes in our state. Health is a very, very big issue. We've seen lower than national health outcomes. We're #1 in the nation in death by heart disease. We're 24% of our women die in childbirth in Oklahoma. If you're a woman of color, that number goes up to 44%. We could be getting more money into our health outcomes, but instead, we're seeing Republican bills that are being run. I think there's 14 or 15 of them that want to limit a physician's right to practice best practice medicine. So if you have a parent and their physician and they have come to a decision what's best for that child, the parent cannot make that decision. The parent will be outlawed for making the decision that they think is in the best interest. And the doctor can be penalized also.
Senator Kay Floyd, Representative Cindy Munson, Senate Minority Leader, House Minority Leader, first time. Thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
And thanks for watching Hot Seat. See us again at news9.com/yourvotecounts and follow me on Twitter @MitchellTalks.